right, man, we back. Motor City Sports Talk in the building. Appreciate everybody for checking in. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, won't miss another video. And pretty much we're talking about Lions finishing 0-4 in the preseason. Big deal, not a big deal. So let's get into it. I watched the majority of the game last night. I got some more videos coming. This probably be the last video because I don't always record in sequence. It's just sometimes it fall that way. I try to get the most challenging video out the way first, but hey, it is what it is. Leaving Jersey Mike's in Livonia, that shit good as hell. But let's get on it, man. And I ain't gonna react to the game because I'm gonna save some of those videos for before this video, after, I don't know. But to look at it, I don't read nothing into it. We went 4-0. We went 0-16, right? You know what I'm saying? So then how can you turn around and say, go 0-4, and it's a big, it's a big deal the other way. So for me, I don't read too much into it. I don't think it's a huge deal. I think they look more prepared last year. More prepared this year than last year. So that's one thing I was looking at. The week one, it looked like a mirror image of last season. You know what I'm saying? Where they look prepared, they look tired. It just looked like they wasn't in sync with the program. They wasn't on code. This year, they look way more uniform. They look right on code. If they was drilling for like a drill sergeant or some stuff like that, they was all on the same accord and step. So I don't read too much in it. But one thing that it does point out is the Lions lack depth, and that's not a Bob Quinn problem. That's a problem that goes back to Matt Millen. They lack top-notch depth. You know what I'm saying? That goes back 20 years of bad drafting. That affects this team to this day. And a lot of people need to know that. And not having that team depth, that kind of changes the dynamic on how Bob Quinn can draft and how he can gamble in the draft. He can't gamble. If your second tier, some of your second tier guys wouldn't be on some people's team at all. They wouldn't even be on practice squad. So he got to continue to build that depth up. That's the only indictment I can say, is that the Lions lack depth, but they gotta continue to build that depth. You know what I'm saying? They gotta continue to develop and find these guys that's not that good and that's not that known, or that's under the radar, and then they gotta build them guys up and fit the program, like the Reeves Maben and the Stephen Logan, whatever his name is. They got to build those guys up and prepare them, for the long haul. They got to be system guys. And once you have system guys like Tavon Wilson, who was with the Patriots in here, he stick around because he a system guy. At the bare minimum, he can hold the fort down and be serviceable. So a lot of your depth guys, you want them to be serviceable. You know what I'm saying? They not a long-term solution. You want them to be serviceable for 2-3 games, maybe a half a season. You know what I'm saying? And your Will Harris's and your Andrew Adams and your Stephen Logan and guys of that nature, you want them to be serviceable for point of time. You don't want them to go out there and be an all-pro LT. If you get a guy like that develop into that, just need the coaching and need top-notch strength and conditioning, and it boiled down that way, cool. If he's developing in that, man, that's awesome. But the team depth, that's the one thing I can say. The team depth sucked, but it's getting better. Mike Ford looked good last night. You can continue to develop him. You know what I'm saying? Reeves Maben, you continue to develop him. They not going to be stars. Will Harris, you continue to develop him. You hope that Tease Tabor, which I'll be getting to him later, can develop. You hope that Andrew Adams, who's just been a monster in camp and been a turnover machine, you hope that he can develop. You know what I'm saying? You just want to develop, build these guys' strengths up, see where they fit at in your system, and plug them in. But anything I took away from this preseason, from week 2 to 4 of preseason, the team looked better than they did last year. They looked uniform. They looked like they knew what was going on. They looked like they knew what the program was. They looked like they felt more comfortable than last season. It seemed like Patricia had more of a grip on this team than he did last year, and that's how it's supposed to be. Now, he was supposed to take a 9-7 team and take them to the upper room to 10-6. Okay, that didn't happen. You know, now year 2, week 1 of preseason looked like the same thing from week 1 to week 4 last year. They look good this year. You know, but just looking at it, that's just what I take away from it. You know, the depth is improving, but it's still a weak spot where a lot of teams can hurt us at. You know, if one guy go down, we might be in trouble. Now the D-line, you know, is really good depth, but guess what? It's a lot of injuries. Flowers ain't play. Daniel's coming off a foot injury. Snack's still working his way into shape. You know what I'm saying? Deshaun Hand's still injured. You know what I'm saying? And you look at your linebacker core, like, it's not appealing. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of those guys may not start on any other team in the NFL. Real talk. Talani is probably going to have to be the savior of our franchise for the linebacker core right now. Davis is supposed to be a big year. He's supposed to jump up and do monumental things. You know, that's been what people want from Davis. But at the end of the day, you've been looking for the same thing from Tease Tabor. You've been looking for a monumental jump from Jalen Tease Tabor, and guess what? You haven't got it. You know, no more Florida Gators. I say that jokingly, man. But I don't read much into it. I look at it for what I look at it for. It's preseason. But we got a lot of guys, young guys, that we got to continue to develop. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully they can find a niche role. Hopefully they can beat Tavon Wilson. Hopefully you have a couple guys that be like Prescott that you drafted in the 4th round, or be like Galladay that develop into something good. And also, I just don't understand why they keep holding Brandon Powell. You know what I'm saying? The guy can play. I don't know if he don't practice well. I heard he make plays in practice. I honestly don't know what's the problem. I don't know what they got against the kid. Is it because his height? At the end of the day, if you're not going to utilize him, let him go somewhere else and get a paycheck and get some playing time there. Same thing in Miami. They underutilize and misutilized Wes Welker. He go to Patriots, they utilize him. The kid got short area quickness. The kid can stretch the field from the slot position. He might be 5'8", 5'9", but you got to look at how the Browns used that Andrew Hawkins kid, or Andre Hawkins, whatever his name was. You got to look at that, man. Look at how they use Edelman. Look how they use Wes Welker. And this kid got the dynamics to go deep down the field. You know, that's the one thing, that's a huge thing I take away, that they are depriving him of opportunities. At some point in time, you got to just play a guy. If he practicing well, he doing well, play him, see what he can do. But don't sit here and put a fog ham over him because he taller and bigger. Now, Brandon Powell walk away, he goes somewhere else and be a star, you're going to be looking like, what happened? And the Lions got that bad. I remember the Washburn guy, you know, was trying to beg the Lions to take Aaron Donald. They was like, oh, he's short, he's stubby, he's not that good. I mean, he's good, but he can't hold up in NFL. And guess what? He went on to be a superstar. You can't just look at it from an old school standpoint saying, oh, you know, he ain't this 6'4", 6'6", 6'5", imposing force. You know, at the end of the day, you got guys that's like, you know, Warren Sapp, you know, that get leverage and get short. Don't look at a guy by stature. Look what he can do with his production. Look how he can help you. Don't sit there and say and be you know, and be limited minded or short minded and say, oh, he only, you know, he ain't big enough or he ain't strong enough. But his tape saying something else. That's another problem with the Lions scouting department, or just with the head. And I think that draft was Martin Mayhew Lewan. You can't just sit here and say, okay, we got an ideal prototype guy. We want our deep tackle to be 6'4", 300 pounds at least. And this, yeah, but at the end of the day, you always have anomalies. You have special players that defy your criteria, and you got to take a chance. You got to believe the tape and see in the tape. And at the end of the day, they messed up on this one, but you can't just judge a guy off of stature. If he productive, he productive. You know, but hey, that's 3 things I take away, man. Powell need more playing time, and they was more comfortable this year, or more structured this year, coming from week 2 to 4 of preseason. They was all last preseason in the first week, and you know, we still having depth issues, but it's getting better. But hey, Smart C Sports Talk. Appreciate the love, support. Don't forget we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Reach out to the email if you have a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, a video request. Keep sharing the videos. One time for the one time, One Pride Nation. And I got some changes coming, so y'all should be seeing some changes. Lion preview coming next week. We about to have some fun. I'll be reviewing the Michigan State game if I catch it tonight. I'll be reviewing the Michigan game tomorrow. So it's looking to be on the up and up. One time for the one time we gone.